Alright, we are on lesson 28. Our objective says I will be able to solve equations with variables on both sides. That's a lot of words in that blank, but you can make it work. Equations with variables on, that's both. That says both, even though that looks like a big blob. That says both. So, if we have equations with variables on both sides using inverse operations, combining like terms, the order of operations, and the wall technique. So if we have an equation that has variables on both sides, the first thing we have to do, just like on all of these, is take this line and split it straight down the middle. What you want is you want all of your variables on one side. You want all of your variables on one side. So when you have variables on both sides, what you've got to do is find a way to get them all on one side. What I like to do is have all my variables over on the goon side. So what I'm going to do is I've got to move this 4x from this side over to this side. The way that I do that, I notice this is a positive 4x. So if I want it to cancel, if I want to totally get rid of it, if I want to move it from this side to this side, what I'm going to do is subtract it, because that will make it cancel. 4x minus 4x, anything minus itself gives me 0. So those have effectively canceled. What I do to this side, what's good for the goon, or actually this would be what's good for the goblin, is good for the goon. Subtract 4x on this side. What you do to one side, you got to do to the other side. 6x minus 4x gives me 2x equals. Look at this. I've got a 10 left, but it's not a 10. Look in front of the 10. That's a negative 10. 2x equals negative 10. What I want to do now is just finish by dividing 2 on each side. That gives me x equals negative 2 divided by, or excuse me, negative 10 divided by 2, which is negative 5. X equals negative 5. It said to solve. We're not going to worry about justifying each step. And to check. So to check, I plug it back in. 6 times negative 5 equals. Can I see that? 4 times negative 5 minus 10. 6 times negative 5 is 30, which equals 4 times negative 5, which is 20. Minus 10, change subtraction to addition, sign the second term. Negative 30 equals negative 30. That checks. My answer is correct. It's correct if when you plug it back in, you get that the left side is equal to the right side. Example 2. Solve. Justify each step. I'm not going to worry about justifying for now. I just want you to know how to solve it. Okay? First thing we've got to do is take this 5. Anytime you see distributive property, you better go ahead and do it before you try to simplify. So 5 distributed here, 5 distributed there. 5 times 2x gives me 10x. 5 times 4 gives me 20. Minus 2x. Oh, what did I forget to do? Always got to split it down the middle. Don't forget to split it down the middle. So I've distributed on the left side. I'm just cleaning up the left side right now. Same thing on the right side. This 6 I'm going to leave, and then I'm going to do my distributive property here. 2 times 3x, 2 times 12. 2 times 3x gives me 6x. 2 times 12 gives me 24. I've got to make sure I distribute that 2 to both terms. Now, after I've distributed, I've still got some cleaning up to do. I notice that on the left side and on the right side, I have some like terms that need to be combined. I've got 10x. I've got a negative 2x. 10x minus 2x gives me 8x plus 20, which equals, I can combine 6 and 24. 6 plus 24 equals 30. So I've got 30 plus 6x. Okay? Almost there. What I notice now, though, is that I have variables on both sides. Remember, if you have variables on both sides, you always want to get them over on one side. So I've got this 6x that I need to move over here to the left side. To move 6x from this side over to this side is being added. It's a positive. I want it to cancel, so I subtract 6x. So minus 6x, what's good for the goblin is good for the goon. Subtract 6x on the right side and on the left. Those 6x's cancel. 8x minus 6x gives me 2x. Drop down that plus 20 equals 30. Then I've just got a two-step equation that I need to solve by subtracting 20 on each side. Get rid of addition before you get rid of multiplication. Subtract 20 on each side. Those cancel. Drop down that 2x. I've got 2x equals 30 minus 20, which is 10. I finish by dividing each side by 2. That gives me x equals 5. How long are we at? How many minutes?
Near 5.
Near 5. All right, we can do one more. X equals 5. Oh, y'all got all those steps? Divide each side by 2. That gives me x equals 5. So an identity is an equation that is always true. It has infinitely many solutions. If it's an identity, that means that the left side is equal to the right side, and it has it has infinitely many solutions. If no value of the variable makes an equation true, that equation has no solution. So we'll look at an example of either infinitely many solutions or no solution. But in order to find that, we just got to solve it like normal. So the left side, I have no cleaning up to do. The right side, I do. I have to clean up by using my distributive properties. Let's distribute negative 2 here and here. I've got negative 2 times 3x. That gives me negative 6x. I've got a negative times a negative 5. That gives me a positive 10. Now I want all of my variables over on one side. So let's move this negative 6x. Since that's a negative, to get rid of it, I could subtract a negative, but minus a negative is the same thing as plus a positive. If I want this negative 6x to cancel, I can add 6x. If I add 6x to the right side, what's good for the goblin is good for the goon. Add 6x to this side. Now watch what happens. These 6x's cancel. That's a negative 6. Those 6x's cancel, which gives me 10 equals 10. 10 will always equal 10, so this solution has infinitely many solutions, which means no matter what number you plug in for x, the left side will always equal the right side. If you have an identity or a true equation, if your variables cancel and you get a true equation, it's an identity which has infinitely many solutions. Okay? Last one quickly. This one, what would happen is we would have 7x minus 2. I'd combine like terms. I'd get 7x minus 5. Subtract 7x on each side. I'm going through this quickly just because I want you to see this. Those cancel. Negative 2 equals negative 5. That is not true. Negative 2 does not equal negative 5. So that would be no solution. That is all.